scratch very early on. So I really love the idea that you could literally just build anything with coding, and at the time it was block codings, right? So it was like very simple stuff. So yeah, as I got older, I kind of got exposed to programming from my sister actually, because she was doing her computer engineering degree. So yeah, she was teaching me about a lot about like coding, programming, and then she introduced me to HTML and CSS at first. So yeah, I built some basic, super simple websites just with like text, like very simple designs. And then yeah, from there, this was all in like COVID, right? Like so 2020, summer of 2020, so around there. So I had a lot of time on my hands. School was uncertain, so instead of just sitting at home doing nothing and playing video games for the entire summer, I decided to just do something useful, something that I was interested in for the last like few years. So yeah, that's kind of how I started. And then yeah, I started with HTML, CSS, and then after a few months, I moved on to JavaScript. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So then, what was like your first big project you worked on?
Yeah. So I think my first big project was it would have to be Oasis. So it's a chat platform that I originally created just for the sake of literally just learning. So I just that was my first project where I implemented so many different things like GraphQL, Next.js, TypeScript, JavaScript, all that kind of stuff. And then after a while, I decided to, maybe like it was getting a bit boring just like grinding this out like for like 3 months by myself. So I got some of my friends that I met online actually to help with this. So I got like 4 or 5 people, and then we were all kind of just like grinding different things. Like some people were doing front end, back end. We also had like a CLI for this too, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I got exposed to a lot of different things, and yeah, the chat platform, it was really just a learning experience for all of us. So we worked on this for around 4 months, and then after we all kind of got back into school, and then we were focusing on that. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always say the best way to learn programming, right? Start, if you're really starting on your own, watch a few YouTube videos, maybe a few courses, right? But just as soon as you can, jump into actually building a project because you're going to learn the majority of of a language from just building a project with it. Obviously you need to start with either YouTube or maybe a small course, but then once you get the basics, like just jump in and build something. So.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I always thought that like I used to start off with tutorials, of course. But like I did find myself really as a tutorial kind of person, because I would just find myself often just copying and pasting code, and I didn't really find that like as the best learning opportunity for me. So I guess that really helped me because with that mindset, I was able to quickly just like work on like even if it was simple projects, like I would still have the exposure to actually learning the code and understanding how everything works. So yeah, that's why I built like so many even tinier projects and then launched them on Product Hunt, and that's kind of how I got exposed to a lot of different things. And to this point, how I know so many different languages, frameworks, and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely agree.
Gotcha. All right. So then after Oasis, what did you move on to?
Yeah, so after Oasis, I guess that was kind of like the time where I started so right before I was just like building a bunch of like fun projects. I guess we kind of skipped over that part, but yeah, first I'll mention a bit about that. So in order to have context for the rest of the year, starting from like January of 2021 is kind of where I joined Twitter, and then I joined Product Hunt as well. So during that time, I released like Lunar Theme, and then I released some other projects as well. So in total, I released like 10 different products between January and like March, which is pretty cool. So in between that time, I was literally just making a new project every week. To me, I didn't really care if any of these projects were making money. Like again, like this was when I was super young, so I wanted to learn so much, like as much as I could. So yeah, after that, like, and they did pretty good. Like Lunar Theme now has over 10,000 downloads, and then the other products got like first, second, third product of the day. And yeah, so going to later in the year, my next project, I'm pretty sure was Funder. So it was an app where it was kind of like Omegle. So investors and founders could meet each other. So you get connected into this chat room, and then, or you have the option to do video or audio, and then we basically allow these founders to give like a 1 to 2 minute pitch to these investors. So yeah, so we basically built that. It was me and then three other people. So this was kind of like the first, startup. And then yeah, we just wanted it to be like my personal experience building side projects was very difficult, and I know a lot of other people on Twitter that were building actual startups at the time. They were having a very difficult time with finding capital, and just like pitching their product, or just like even getting their first customers. So I wanted to build this in order to like make that connection with investors much easier. So yeah, that was kind of the second project, and then that was the first project that I actually sold. So we sold it to a company that had raised like millions at the time. So yeah, that was very cool.
That's awesome. And then once you sold it, what did they end up doing with it? Did they keep it running? Did they transform it into something else?
Yeah, so after that, I think it was just literally just like a like the most simple acquisition. They just bought it, I guess. Like it's funny because like after a few months after they bought it, I guess it was kind of on like a hold period. They didn't really do as much with it, but in that same like couple of months they got acquired, that company. So yeah, the founders kind of moved on to other things. And then yeah, the product to now it hasn't been like functioning, like it's not really in production right now. So yeah, that's kind of the point it is.
Gotcha. And for a lot of our audience is young teen entrepreneurs who are really interested in that process. So how did they approach you to for that acquisition?
Yeah, so I actually like met the founder previously. We were talking a bit for like I don't know, like a few weeks or maybe even a month before. And I guess a lot of this and a lot of like what I've been doing too, it comes a lot from like a lot of help with Twitter and just like networking and meeting a lot of different types of people. Because when you have these connections, like at the time when I first met him, I never knew that they're gonna acquire this. And even now, the people that I'm talking to now, you never know how, in what ways they can help you in the future. So yeah, it's really important to have those relationships with a lot of people. So yeah, I met the founder around a month ago, and then um, we were just talking, and I actually joined them as just a contractor for a couple of weeks. This was when I was super young, of course. And then yeah, after those couple of weeks, I wasn't at the company anymore. I left, and then I was telling them a bit about the project I was building on the side, and then they found it really interesting, and they wanted to support in any way that they could. And yeah, I guess that's kind of what led to it. It was pretty much it was literally like just the networking that I built from Twitter and just meeting these people on Twitter, and then cold DMing them, and then starting this network and relationship with them. Not only with one singular founder of this company, but their entire company, meeting different types of people, and then yeah, it kind of branches out from that.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, networking is such a huge thing. Whether you're interested really in anything nowadays. But you would say that is that something you would really recommend to other young entrepreneurs to like start connecting with other people?
Yeah, 100%. I think that networking is the most important like skill that you can have. And the reason that I say skill is because not everyone is good at it, right? Like
Yeah. And you have
obviously maybe not. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. Sorry, I think there was a
Oh, sorry,
lag.
sorry. And then yeah, so I guess some people now have like they're not really as open to like approaching different types of people. Maybe they're just nervous or shy, which is completely fine. But I think even just like having like a simple conversation, like even if it has like nothing related to that, what you intend to actually ask, like those like introductory like things, like maybe even asking what they're building, like just even saying that their product is cool, right? Like just like simple stuff like that can really be helpful. And then when you actually like talk to them, maybe like even hop on a call, it could go like so far. Just having like just you never know how much in common you can have with someone until you actually meet them. So yeah, I mean, if for anyone that's like looking for any tips, right? Like just message the person that you're trying to talk to. The worst that they can like say is no, and the worst that they can do is not reply. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fantastic advice. I kind of when thinking about how, I've done stuff like this in the past, like in sixth grade, we started learning how to code in school and we used this program called Kidoyo. And I was
Yeah.
just a student using their software. And then 2 years later, I never would have thought that we would have been at, like, the NASDAQ stock exchange ringing the bell with them, right? When I started as a student 2 years prior, I who would have, thought of that, right? But it's just
Yeah.
you start as maybe just someone using a product, and then you message them once or twice, talking about how you love their product, maybe have a few questions, and then you just get to know, the staff, or the person you're contacting, and it just builds from there, and you never know where it's going to go, but it's just fantastic, what can emerge. But yeah, you have almost 27,000 followers on Twitter. Do you have any advice to people trying to grow their Twitter accounts, trying to connect with people on Twitter specifically? I think we had some lag issues there. I know we were having some earlier. I don't know if if it's if we're still connected here. Uh, We'll have to see. We also had some audio issues earlier when this live stream started. I realized it kind of just like jumped into what he was saying, but it wasn't too bad. We realized it early on, and you really got to hear what he was saying. But yeah, so we might have to wait for him to reconnect. In the meantime, I was saying earlier, I sent the link to Barricat's website in the chat, so you guys can go check that out right now. Also, I'll send a link to his Twitter. I mean, fantastic stuff. He's not that active anymore on Twitter, but still a lot of great stuff on there. And you can learn even more about if we don't get into it in this episode. But we do have a lot of time left, so I'm gonna really. Oh no, I sent like the profile picture instead of his real Twitter link. Don't know how I messed that up. Anyway, it's all in the chat, so you can go check that out. I don't know if the chat. Actually, the chat does save when this goes into the video version. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I think he was just DMing us, so we'll have to see how that goes, see if he can reconnect. But yeah, so let me bring up his website, screen share it right now, and show you guys.
What do you? I have. I haven't used it though. How is it? It's for business, right? Or something? The organization.
Okay. Sorry. I don't know what happened. Okay. Yeah. So I started off by just tweeting like literally what I was building. So at the time it was just my first couple projects and then maybe my portfolio as well. And then I followed a bunch of people, in the space that I was in. So it was like tech. So yeah, I followed a bunch of people in that space. Maybe it was like YouTubers that I was following tutorials with at the very start when I started to code, or it was just like people that maybe the Twitter algorithm had introduced to me. So I followed like maybe hundreds of people, like 200 or so people. And then, yeah, I guess people over time, they just saw that 12-year-old started to code, and that really made them very interested. So yeah, they saw this 12-year-old, and then they were like, maybe it would be beneficial if like they retweet my stuff, any way that they could help me. So from there, I started to grow my Twitter. It all just came exponentially. It just came by itself. And then yeah, over time, I just kept growing, kept growing. It'll be some days where I wake up and I have 1,000 more followers. So yeah, this was also back in like 2021, right? So it's not as easy to do what I did back then now. Everything's changed, X premium, like pretty much now, if you don't buy Twitter premium, your account isn't gonna get as exposed as someone that does. And even if you do, there's certain things that you have to do now, like uploading videos in your tweets are like more beneficial to the algorithm and more people are gonna see them. And there's so many different tips and tricks that you need to know now than you needed to know in 2021. So I guess that was kind of a big help too. Back then you could literally just tweet and it would be on the Twitter algorithm for everyone, right? So yeah, I mean, I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Twitter for connecting with people and just learning about different people is really like, I guess, yeah, like underrated. People don't know that you can just go on Twitter. There's all different people. Like I followed like a few young entrepreneurs, and then you were one of the people that came up after that. I looked into you. I found all the stuff you were doing really interesting. Then I found even more people. I mean, it's just that's how algorithms work. You find one group of people, you really connect with and find interesting, and you just get more and more and more. And it's great for connecting with people in business or just learning from them. So yeah, so I think that's great. I got to get better at posting more on Twitter, though. I do a lot of DMing and stuff like that, but I gotta post a little more. But all right, so then when did you were talking about 2021 a little bit. That's the same
Yeah,
time you joined Builder Group, right?
yeah, yeah. On yeah, at the end of 2021, or yeah, at the end of 2021. Yes, yes.
All right. So did they approach you? Did you approach them, or did you how did that
Yeah,
start?
yeah, for sure. So actually, wait, 2020. Yeah, okay, it was. Yeah, okay, okay, that's right. Or it might be the end of 2022. The dates are getting mixed up, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's end 2021. So yeah, how that happened was that one of the co-founders, Ari, they approached me in December, so right before Christmas, like maybe like 2 weeks before. And then they asked me to, join on what they called Builder Talks. So I was the first ever guest on that, which was like an interview just like this, where what we did there is that you just get so we get a startup founder or like a unicorn founder, a big tech founder, and then we just literally just asked them like how they got to this point and like tips, right? So it was literally just an interview like this. So yeah, I went on that similar interview to this, and then after that, I really loved what they're doing with the community. There are plans for hackathons, like a perks program. There's so much, and even the people that were messaging in that Discord community, they were very like it seemed like everyone was engaged. Everyone wanted to learn and just like build. So I really loved that environment. And then I asked them if they needed any hands-on, right? Any more help. And then yeah, it was very super early on. There was like 50 members in the Discord. And then I joined like literally a day before Christmas, I'm pretty sure, or the day of Christmas. So yeah, that was a good gift. And then yeah, I guess after that we've been very lucky to have, like 40 plus guests on Builder Talks. We've hosted like two hackathons with over $5,000 in prizes. We have a perks program of over 200,000 in perks. And then we have also partnered with some co-working spaces too. And yeah, that's kind of like a Builder Group story in the nutshell for me.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. Builder Group and TSARP share a lot of the same really mission of just empowering young entrepreneurs, and just all that stuff. And I mean that's awesome what Builder Group's doing with all your discounts and rewards too. I've been checking that out. That's awesome for any viewers listening. If you want to go check it out, Builder Group's website, they got a ton of different we or just rewards and coupon codes and all different stuff on there, along with their Discord community. So go check that all out. All right, and then after you did a lot of other stuff, we're gonna try to cover it all. When did you start as an intern at Shopify?
Yeah, so I joined Shopify in the summer of 2022. And then I joined on their developer experience team. So I've actually like my sister also worked at Shopify as an intern. So I guess I was lucky on that regard. But yeah, I've been talking to the Shopify team prior, Toby, Farhan, and Harley. And yeah, I guess over like talking over like a year, like prior to when I actually started, we both shared a lot of like common similarities, and um from there, I guess Shopify was perfect. Like Shopify really loves young entrepreneurs. Like they're a company for small businesses, and they really love supporting people that are young. So yeah, I guess everything aligned perfectly. And after talking with them and negotiating a few legal things, and just covering those bases, yeah, I joined Shopify and then summer there for the intern. I mean, intern there for the summer of 2022. And then yeah, I met a bunch of cool people. Everyone there was super smart. And I got the opportunity to work on a bunch of cool things. And yeah, I guess that was Shopify.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. I mean, especially when you're young like that, it's hard sometimes, like you were saying, figure out all the legal things and, that stuff. Do you have any, tips for young people trying to get internships at big companies like that?
Yeah, I mean that's a hard one because um like with Shopify in particular, I think that it was literally just right time, right place kind of thing. Uh, but in general for internships, I would just say like I know it's very hard for people that are in high school trying to get internships, but I would say that when you're reaching number one, reach out to as many people as you can. You're gonna get a bunch of no's, like that's guaranteed. Don't expect not to get no's. This could be hundreds, like 200 plus no's. But all you need is that one person that believes in you and says yes. Um, so that applies to everything in life, right? Even when you're raising money, or doing lots of other things. A lot of people are gonna say no, but it's always good to stay positive. And when you're approaching them, like always like try to pitch yourself. Like tell them what you've done, what you want to do, and why you're the best, fit. Like why should they choose you over, some other people? Because at the end of the day, when you're doing internships, the companies have an option to, they could, depending if it's small or big, but they could pick you or someone else that has a bunch of experience. But if they go with you, you have to make it worth it for them as well. But sometimes you're lucky with Shopify where they're able to, employ like 2,000 plus people, and they can bring you on and have people there to be supporting you and mentoring you. But when you're at earlier stages, it's much harder. And yeah, I guess those are kind of my tips. Yeah, when you're approaching them, just like pitch yourself. That's what I have to say for that.
Yeah, like you said, it was almost like the perfect place, perfect time. But to add on to that is true. But if you plant enough seeds, actually, a guest we're gonna have on in about a week. That's one of the things he says. Plant a lot of seeds. I'm not gonna say who because that upcoming guest is a secret, but you'll find it out in a little bit. He says, plant a lot of seeds because all you need is one of those seeds to actually, grow and work out for something amazing to happen. So it can be the perfect place, perfect time. But if you're in enough places at enough times, one of them will end up working out, which is, great. So then, what other or some of your favorite projects you've worked on?
Yeah. So you mean like just in general?
Yeah, just in
Yeah.
general, what are some projects?
Sure. So I'll say a couple, or I'll say two, that are my favorites. So number one is I actually worked on a hackathon project with my sister. And then spoiler, it won the hackathon. But so basically, an idea that we had is that we were using Snapchat a lot. This was during my middle school years. So, and she was in university, but we were both using Snapchat a lot. But when it was time, to delete Snapchat, maybe we didn't have enough storage on our phone at the time. We wanted to delete Snapchat, but we had so many memories that were on there, and we wanted to export them. And Snapchat is great for allowing you to export them, but it doesn't allow you to bulk export them. So when you have thousands and thousands and thousands of memories on the app, you're not gonna go and export all of them individually and wait a week for that. So we wanted to simplify that process, since this was like a big issue that a lot of people had, and they couldn't delete Snapchat for this, right? Like Snapchat pretty much was like, once you install this app, you can never delete it. Don't even think about like pressing the delete button. Um, so we tried playing around a bit with the Snapchat API, and they had really no data for us. But there was one thing where if you export a file, right? Because Snapchat has an option to export all your data. There was this file that contained all of your memories, and then a link to like their image URLs, and then just data about the file and then their timestamps. So using that, we were able to, go through each of those and then, implement an app that is able to you upload your file, and then we can go through each of those. You connect your Google Drive, and then we upload all of the images to that Google Drive, and then you have access to it. So instead of we didn't charge anything on our end, but because there was nothing to charge for, but instead of doing that, if you wanted like more storage, you would have to pay for your Google Drive. So yeah, that's something that we built for the hackathon. And initially we did use AWS's S3 for uploading the images, but that was just a huge privacy concern and that would cost us money too. So we didn't want to charge a subscription for that. So yeah, we're kind of the middleman in this entire situation. So yeah, that's one of the projects that I really like. And then my second project would probably have to be um I'd say hits. So a project that I worked on with Cody. So these are more like fun projects, not like too big. But yeah, hits was like a GitHub profile view counter badge that we made. So using Golang and React, Next.js, like all that stuff, and Tailwind, we were able to make a view counter badge, which basically every time a unique IP address visited your GitHub profile or wherever you decide to place our badge, we basically incremented that view counter. And then that would basically allow people to, view how many times someone visited their GitHub profile, which is the most common use case. That's why I keep mentioning it. And then, or anything else. And then we had a leaderboard on our website that we hosted. And then you can see the people with the most views, which was really cool. And then yeah, that was kind of a fun project, and like in total we have millions of views that people have gotten, which is really cool. So again, yeah, both of these projects I just built for fun. um I'm not mentioning the bigger projects right now because those aren't really fun. Like they take a long time to talk about and they're pretty boring, but these are some of the smaller popular ones that I built with some of my friends and my family members.
Gotcha. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, all of them sound awesome. Again, you can view most of them on Bearcat's website. I linked all that. I linked Builder Group in the chat too, so you all can check that out. Now, let's jump forward to now. What is your main focus right now? What are you excited about coming in the future? What are you working on?
Yeah, for sure. So right now I'm actually working on a new startup. Like going full into this new startup that I'm working on with three of my friends. So we're building this app called Butler, and Butler will be able to allow people to get a summary of their most like relevant apps that their team uses. So what that means is that let's say you're using Slack, Discord, Gmail, Google Calendar. We're able to get all the data from all those apps, and then we're able to provide a summary. And then you're able to also customize that as well, so you can like include things to know, preferences, custom instructions, and also prioritize your contacts. And then we generate a summary for you, and then you can get like a 1 to 5 minute audio generation of this, which is really cool. And then basically Butler will able to be like, hey Andrew, I um here's your daily summary. You have two new Slack messages from Sam, and they say we need to interview Bearcat tomorrow. What time are you available? And then you'll be able to also have a conversation with Butler. So you can interrupt it just like the GPT-4 demo. I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, you're able to interrupt it and you're able to, speak back to it and say, I'm available, tonight at 4 p.m. And then it could, integrate with Google Calendar and book the meeting for you. So that's kind of like the very basic stuff of Butler. So we really think that there's no really AI assistant like that out in the market. We did a lot of research, and yeah, that's kind of what I'm excited about in the future. Something to build a lot that I can with, in the AI and machine learning space.
Yeah, that's actually great. I've been thinking of an idea like that. I tried to program my own similar, not exactly like that. I use Python for it was for my computer. It lasted a little while, but it was hard to keep up with. But I think that idea sounds awesome, really, and it exactly almost the use case you gave, right, is something I would probably use it exactly for, like, checking my messages, and then I see there's an interview. Maybe I have to check with Sam, see what time works for him for that interview, and then
Yeah,
respond back. I think that is awesome, and I really can't wait till you guys get it going and we can get some tests going. But I think that would be
yeah.
awesome to see
Yeah,
that.
I'm super
Thank you.
excited for it. I'm definitely gonna use it all the time.
Yeah. All right. So, is there anything else going on, or something you want to mention that we didn't ask you, or anything else you want to say?
I think that's all. Yeah. I mean, I'm just excited about what the future has, and there's HEI that still has to be built, and there's a lot of other things. So I'm excited about what the future has, what OpenAI has, what all these other companies have. And Yeah, I mean, in 5 years the world's gonna be crazy, but yeah, we're all here for it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, I couldn't even imagine what we're gonna have in 5 years with all the advancements we've been having. So I can't wait to see. And yeah, I mean that's really why we do this podcast, right? We talk about all the daily news, keep you updated on what's going on. So thank you for joining, Barakat. It was awesome to hear all about the stuff you've been doing, and the stuff you're
Yeah,
working on.
thanks.
I can't wait to see when Butler comes out. And yeah, thanks for joining.
For sure. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right, awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all for tuning in. We'll see you back here tomorrow, Thursday. And yeah, bye bye.
All right,
Bye,
see you.
everyone.